All right, ladies, Alex Hitchens back here at the Deep Dive at the Truth and Logic Zone. Welcome. Today we're doing a specialized deep dive, really honing in on insights from my book, Finding Yourself Before Finding Him.
Hmm?
And our mission today, it's all about unpacking Chapter 3, the one titled The Luggage You're Carrying. We want to really understand and start addressing that emotional baggage from past relationships. So
Hmm.
let's just jump right in. Let me ask you this. What past relationship, or maybe just an experience, still affects how you see men today? And I mean practically,
Mm.
not just some abstract idea, but, your day-to-day interactions.
That's a powerful question. It's really fascinating how deeply these past experiences can get lodged in there. What we often don't quite grasp is how our brains are basically these incredibly efficient pattern matching machines. They're always scanning, looking for connections, good ones, bad ones, pulling from our history. And these aren't just memories floating around, they actually become filters. Filters for how we see every new person.
Exactly. Filters. And that brings us right to this really crucial question we explore in Chapter 3. Do you find yourself comparing new partners to old ones? Maybe consciously.
Hmm.
Maybe not even realizing you're doing it. Why do you think that comparison is just so persistent? Because, look, this isn't just some minor habit. It's a huge sign, a telltale sign. We're carrying some serious emotional luggage.
Yeah, and here's where it gets, well, really interesting. When you're sort of holding up a new guy against the ghost of an old one, maybe you're missing something good, or maybe, and this is common, you're dreading seeing some bad trait pop up again. You're basically dragging that whole emotional suitcase right into the here and now.
Right. Psychologists actually talk about this. They sometimes call it repetition compulsion. It's like this subconscious thing, this drive to replay past situations, almost like trying to fix them this time around.
Exactly. So those old wounds, the doubts that linger, those preconceived ideas, they're not just history. They're active. They're coloring how you see things right now. It means the past isn't really past. It's sitting right there with you. And that's absolutely critical to understand because this constant comparing, which is rooted in those old patterns, it stops you from having a real fresh start. It truly does. Not just for you, but for any new person you meet too. Your mind gets kind of stuck, replaying those old scripts, trying to guess what's coming based on what happened before, instead of just, well, being present and engaging with the actual person who's right there in front of you.
It's like judging a brand new book just because it looks a bit like one you didn't like before.
Mm-hmm. And often this comes from maybe less secure attachment styles that might have formed way earlier. Your brain ends up scanning for what feels familiar, even if it's unhealthy, because familiar can feel safer somehow or more in control than the unknown.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So this pattern, it's not just like a harmless quirk. It points to history that hasn't been dealt with. Wounds that are still open and influencing things now. And when we say baggage, it's not always like big, obvious suitcases, right? Sometimes it's subtle. That little nod of anxiety when someone doesn't text back immediately, maybe because of past ghosting, or maybe it's that idealized ex that you subconsciously measure everyone against, so no one new really stands a chance.
Yeah, the brain's trying to protect you, defaulting to what it knows, even the painful stuff. It sees it as like known territory compared to the uncertainty of something genuinely new.
So understanding why you compare, that's the key. That's the first massive step.
It really is just recognizing that your brain, even with good intentions, might be keeping you stuck.
Okay.
That awareness itself is pretty empowering, I think.
Okay, so what do we do? How do we move forward with this? Understanding this comparison habit, it's not about getting stuck in the past. It's about seeing its influence so you can consciously, choose to put that baggage down.
Hmm.
And Chapter 3, well, it has practical exercises, things you can actually do to help release those old wounds, make some real space for something and someone new. For instance, there's one technique we discussed called the mental reset. Like before a date, you could actually visualize yourself unplugging from those old relationship memories. Then consciously list maybe 3 unique things you appreciate about the person you're about to meet. It shifts the focus, you see, onto their reality, not some ghost from before.
That's a really powerful act of taking charge. And look, we're not saying just forget the past. That's usually not possible or even that helpful. It's more about reframing how the past affects your present, consciously integrating it, acknowledging the lessons, yes, but not letting the old pain call the shots today. It's like rewiring, not just cutting the cord.
Yeah. And by understanding this, by releasing this baggage piece by piece, you can really step into a future that feels like your own, which, is the whole point of the journey in finding yourself before finding him. So as you go through your week, maybe just think about this. What's one small practical step, just one thing you can commit to doing this week to consciously start leaving even one piece of that emotional luggage behind. Just to create a little more space for the real, authentic you to come through.
Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.